This is day 61 of my 6-mark challenge for AQA GCSE Science. In the run-up to the exams, every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, I'm posting a new 6-mark question with a tutorial video so that you can practice answering these and see how you can get marks on these extended response questions for GCSE Science. If you look in the description below, you'll find a link to this week's questions and also the playlist of all 61 videos so far. Today's question comes from the homeostasis topic, which is Unit 5 of GCSE Biology and occurs in Paper 2. In this question, we're describing how the human body both monitors and controls body temperature. Before you dive into writing an answer, don't forget that this is not an essay question. Our ideas need to be presented in a logical order, but that doesn't mean it has to be full sentences. So you could absolutely use bullet points, numbered lists, or tables. We also might want to consider writing a plan, because your marker can give you marks for things you've just scribbled in the margin before you started, even if you haven't tackled the full question. And this helps you to get your ideas in order and make sure you're writing things logically so that you can get full marks. We also need to make sure that we've answered the full question. So here we're describing both how the human body monitors and controls body temperature. And I would strongly suspect that a number of candidates here are just going to describe control and forget about monitoring. If you haven't done it already, pause the video and give yourself 6 minutes to answer this 6-mark question. Like many of these 6-mark questions, this one is going to be level marked, so it's not just the case that you can write any 6 true things on the topic and get 6 marks. But unlike many of these questions, for this one there isn't a huge amount of extra detail that you could put in, so if you have got 6 things, you've probably managed to cover all of the marking points. Firstly, I'm going to think about the monitoring of the body temperature. So this is going to take place in the brain, in the thermoregulatory centre, and that is going to make use of receptors which are present in both the blood and also in the skin. Then in terms of how that body temperature is controlled, I need to think both about it being too hot and too cold. So if it's too hot, there are a couple of different things that my body can do. One is vasodilation. So this is where the blood is going to pass nearer to the surface of the skin. It's why you look pinker when you're hot, maybe if you've been exercising, and that's going to allow the transfer of energy from the blood to the atmosphere. And then secondly, I can increase the amount which I'm sweating. So this is going to allow the water in the sweat to take on some of the energy from the skin and evaporate and transfer the energy to the environment. Then if it's too cold, I've got 3 options. So there's vasoconstriction, where the blood is going to pass through the blood vessels that are further away from the skin so that I don't have so much energy transfer out to the atmosphere. Sweating is going to reduce, and then also shivering may take place. And I may want to describe how that shivering takes place, thinking about things like the adrenal glands producing adrenaline, this leading to an increase in the pulse, faster delivery of glucose and oxygen, and therefore increased aerobic respiration to allow that shivering to take place and the muscles to contract. Now, as we've said, there isn't a huge amount here that you could miss out, although that last bit about shivering is really beyond the scope of a grade 4 to 5 question, which is what the 6-marker usually is. So in order to get full marks, we're definitely going to need to have tackled both the monitoring and the control. So you're definitely going to need to have named the thermoregulatory centre and talked about the receptors in both the blood and the skin. We then need to make sure that we've definitely talked about both being too hot and too cold. So that could be vasodilation or sweating, and then vasoconstriction, sweating stopping, and shivering. So in order to get into 5 or 6 marks, we're definitely going to want the TRC, both sets of receptors, one of the 2 hot systems, one of the 2 cold systems, and probably also talking about how one of those works. The section about shivering here is all good information for you to know, but realistically the 6-mark question tends to be pitched at a grade 4 to 5, and so mentioning all of this would be beyond the scope of that question. So while it would make sure that you were getting your 6 marks, it's not necessarily necessary. But if you are someone who's going for higher grades, and if a question like this came up in the back end of the higher tier paper where it was pitched as a higher demand question, then you might need to write about these things. We'll be back again on Wednesday, and this time it's the energy changes topic from chemistry paper 1. So this is a bond energy calculation. Don't forget that in the description below there's a link to all of the questions so far and also the playlist containing all of the videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you back again on Wednesday for day 62 of the GCSE Science 6-mark challenge. If you have found this video useful, then don't forget to like and subscribe for more GCSE Science revision videos coming soon.